Hello, lads and ladies. Welcome back. League One Live, the first one of 2026. Happy New Year, one and all. I hope the New Year's treating you well. New Year, same CODS Vlogs and the same CODS Vlogs panel as previous. Not the previous show, because it was better and we had better feedback. We actually had the most viewers played back from after a show to obviously now for a long while. So thank you very much if you watch either live or as a playback. I think it had something to do with no Jake Tong, really. I thought brilliant, we can watch it now. Al looks over. Hi mate, how are you?
Oh, good evening. Happy New Year to you as well, young man. How are you? Are you okay?
I'm very good, mate. What do you get up to on New Year? Did you go out in Lincoln, Latvia?
Mine and yours New Year's Eve sounded awfully familiar, Nappers.
Yeah.
So if you want to land me in it, I'm going to land you in it.
Go on then. What are you going to land me in me? Go on.
I'm just saying that we both ended up not quite getting where we wanted. Do you know what I mean?
Didn't quite move in the right direction.
Yeah, but you know, these things happen, right? These things
happen. Fair, Jake. Yeah, you say about we're not where you wanted. I'm mid-table in League Two, mate. That's exactly not where I want to be.
Well, I will just say we backed it up with a point against super spending Huddersfield. I dare ask, how did your New Year's Day go? Because it was well. Do you know what I did like? And I don't like giving credit to them lot up the A46. As you well know, they are the absolute scum of the earth, in my opinion. But their tweet at full time did
what was it? I'm not seeing it. I genuinely not seeing it.
So they put, I think it was like, let me get it up. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to miss.
Something about our unbeaten home record.
No, nothing to do with you. No. Nothing to do with your unbeaten home record. A lovely 3 points at an opportunity elsewhere. Obviously, with big old Denv making the right call to ditch one COD for another. But yeah, no, it was good, mate. Good. I was slightly delicate yesterday at the football, but no, I'm looking forward to doing a power hour of a League One live. Good day to yesterday it was, by the looks of it.
Yeah, well, my day started off. Obviously, I had a few drinks the night before, and I don't often drink, to be fair. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be totally honest. If you're watching this and you're wondering why there's been no vlogs, I'm going to be totally honest now. This week, I've had no interest. I think I'll vlog Sunday, and I'll say more then. But
you got
Walsall away. I'm a big believer if you're not into something and you're not devoted to something and you've not got the drive to do it, don't do it. I've probably missed two games, probably the right time. It's been a bit dull. Nothing's happened. There've been two very poor games, really, over the 200 minutes or so of football been played. Sometimes you've got to get off. With the vlogging, I just think everyone has a bus stop they get off at eventually. And maybe I've gone past my stop a little bit this season. That's all I'm thinking right now, because I'm thinking, should I still do it? So I've had a couple of days off it. It's been nothing to do with Fleetwood not scoring, because I've vlogged a 50-game season where Fleetwood got relegated and ultimately lost half the games. Yeah, it was frustrating. My day started off great, obviously, when I went on a run and as I'm arriving into Fleetwood, I see the finest buses in Lincolnshire. So that was, great.
Well, they come from the wrong part of Lincolnshire, Ben. So they're not quite the finest.
I just thought, bleeding it. There's another pit in Lincoln that's the best thing ever. After I had some Lincolnshire sausages for me breakfast, so I was trying to get into the Lincoln feel. And then obviously I arrive at the ground, have a good chat with Phil, enjoying it. The game was horrific. We lost 1-0 in the last minute. Grimsby deserved it. They're probably the better side overall. There wasn't nothing in it, really. It was a 1-goal game. Nothing happened by the goal. They had a couple of opportunities. Obviously, Denver found an opportunity elsewhere. But probably might never play for the football club again. That's the harsh reality. Lacking goals. And There's a reason why Fleetwood are 13th in League Two. Absolutely.
positive.
And I'll say this now: if anyone thinks Fleetwood are going to get promoted this year, living in absolute cuckoo land.
Positive.
Honestly,
yeah,
you're in absolute cuckoo land. If anyone thinks Fleetwood are going to get promoted this year,
I live in cuckoo land. Come on, the Cods.
No, it's something for another podcast. Is that nothing's happening with Fleetwood? Well, Fleetwood will never be back in League One in the next 5 years. That is honestly, genuinely, I'm not overreacting.
Do you know?
I don't
think the beacon of hope should be, Ben.
What?
We're in January, and seasons can change in January.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that for now. We've got signing done, obviously.
Yeah.
He was announced today, officially unveiled. He was at the game yesterday. I got to speak to him. So that was nice.
Was he there on his own?
No, he was there with his dad, actually.
Oh, so that should have been the home gate doubled.
It's ironic. Hold on, wait there. Hold on, Ben. Wait there. Can you just tell me the similarities between this and this? Hold on. Can you tell me the similarities between these two things? Don't you ever come for me about crowds, young man. I'm not. Anyway,
well,
what a power hour! We're a sixth of the way through the show, and we're
right. Great to see you. If you could like the stream, that'd be appreciated. Give us a subscribe if you haven't already. We're all going to start off with Port Vale 5, Blackpool 1, Dave Clark, and Dave Clark. Anyway, I've played 5 times at Vale Park. Now, I think this has been coming for quite a little while with Port Vale, a win, scoring lots of goals. In XG, the 13th, and they're actually expected to have scored 30 goals this season almost. They've only scored 18. They've actually missed the 5th most big chances in the league, 19th in shot conversion rate. Now, we spoke about this early in the year when Lincoln were about 21%. And I went, well, they're really high. Port Vale are 6.4. Normally evens itself out anywhere between 10 and 15% is the norm. Rotherham are currently the next worst on about 9.5. So Port Vale have been creating opportunities, and they've actually had as many shots as Burton and Burton and Northampton, And they've been creating opportunities, but maybe not quite taking them. They were maybe early in the year. So this was not surprising to me. Blackpool did go up through Tom Bloxham, who scored 3 in 3. The game changed when James Husband got sent off. It was a crunching tackle. For me, I can understand why the referee's blown his whistle, and I can understand why the referee has maybe blandished a card. However, it is an absolute yellow card.
However.
Yeah. However. It was a yellow card at absolute max. I first thought, what a tackle. The first tackle was an absolute cruncher of a tackle, by the way. The second tackle from Husband, he's dived in, his studs are up. I can understand it. He's going in with momentum. But I thought it was a really good tackle. And ultimately, it's changed the game. And Blackpool should feel harshly done by. They'll appeal it, Ian Evans said, and I can understand why. But Port Vale needed a bit of a stepping stone. They need a bit of luck. They've not had any sort of luck. I think every bit of luck has gone against them this year. Look, they scored 5 goals in the second half yesterday. Bear in mind, they've only scored 5 goals in the previous 13 games. It was their first win in 13 games. So it was good to see Vale back. And they're actually now, across the last 5 games against Blackpool, they've won 4 of whom and drew the other one. 4 clean sheets prior. They beat them in the Cup earlier this season at Bloomfield Road. And before yesterday, they actually only won 1 game on New Year's Day in the last 17 years, really. And Blackpool, 9 defeats and 12 in Burton at Port Vale. A good few weeks for the Seasiders. How much will this knock them, do you think?
I don't think it should knock them, because I thought up until that point, Ben, Blackpool were probably in control, and they got the goal to get in front, didn't they, through Tom Bloxham, who's been a real bright spot for them this season, certainly going forward. Unfortunately, I picked the wrong Blackpool forward to put in my fantasy team this weekend, because I thought Ashley Fletcher was going to do the job, but Tom Bloxham finally getting one on the score sheet, and they were in control, weren't they? And then that cut, I don't think it should knock them too much, because I think with that decision, Ben, going the way it did. If it went the other way and he hadn't been sent off, he'd be given a yellow card, right? He still might have been sent off further throughout the game, of course, whatever. He's an outside centre-back on a yellow card. Port Vale probably would have exposed him, or at least tried to. But I think Blackpool would have probably gone and saw the game out pretty comfortably. I mean, we've seen over the last, I think there was a thing on Sky, on Sky Bet, I thought, or something. They put up the results since Ian Everett's got in, and you can see the progress with the results, right? I mean, I think before this one, they'd won four of the last 5. They'd obviously only dropped points, but in one game against us, but they come back from 2-0 down to show big character. So this Blackpool group have got character, and I would have expected them to put a Port Vale team that have been as dross as they have been over the last sort of 2 months to the sword, because we know that this Blackpool team under Ian Everett a lot better. So to lose it, I think they'll be disappointed. However, I think results weren't the worst for them at the weekend, right? Plymouth only gained a point. They're still well and truly amongst that mid-table pack, aren't they, Blackpool? Burton lost. Cobblers only picked up a point. Orient lost as well. Doncaster dropped points as well. So, yeah, I don't think they could be too disappointed. Whereas for Port Vale, Ben, I mean, it was like all the Christmases came at once in one game, doesn't it? Because all of a sudden we speak about them not taking the conversion rate, etc., and then they put in basically every chance that they created. On the 2-minute highlight show that I watched earlier today, they scored everything. Like literally everything fell for them. Like all the ricochets in the box, and that's not happened for Port Vale, right? And I know we had this debate about we had it about Darren Moore, and we had it out, didn't we, on League One Live, whatever. I don't think that the manager made any difference to that result yesterday, personally, myself, right? Great win for Port Vale. Things fell for them. And sometimes in football, it's just your day, right? It is just your day, and you score 5 goals. Fair play to them. It's a massive win. Sorry, you asked me about Blackpool. Yes, they'll be gutted. They will be.
I think similar to Burton, maybe, on Boxing Day against Northampton. They struggle for goals. All their goals have come in one game. And it's typical like us. And if you go through Vale's results, a lot of them, I think they lost 1-0 to Peterborough, 1-0 to Doncaster. They lost 2-1 to Stevenage. They lost 3-2 to Leyton and Orient. They lost 1-0 to Plymouth. Lost 1-0 to Bradford. There's been a few games where they've been hammered. Bolton, they played well for 20 minutes. Huddersfield, they got beat 5, but sat down and more. So there has been games where they've been hammered and well beaten. But a lot of games have been in. And I'm a big believer in it's those tight margins that get you through. The darts is on at the minute. Anyone that knows darts, the set play, the fifth leg in the set is the important, because if you win it, you can win 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, and you've won 5-0. But really, you've only won 15-10 in legs, and it's close. And again, there's a bit like that in football. Port Vale, there's a lot of work to be done. They need to go back this up now. This can't be one spring in the summer. 9 points adrift now. Again, they have got a game in hand. You look at the fixtures coming up. Barnsley at home, Bolton away, Mansfield away, Exeter at home, Wimbledon at home. I'm looking more towards, from Bolton onwards, Mansfield, Exeter, Wimbledon, and Leyton Orient. They got a good result early in the year. I think they beat Mansfield at home, did they? They beat Exeter away 2-0. And then, man, Exeter don't lose many tight margin games more than 2-0, more than 1-0, sorry. So, yeah, big win for Vale. A big win, talking of Mansfield, Jake, for the Stags, 3-0. 3 consecutive wins after a bit of a tough period. And they scored the last 7 goals in their matches. They scored 3 away at Barnsley after being 2-0 down. They beat Bolton Wanderers on the 29th. And then they won 3-0 yesterday. They've taken 9 points from Barnsley, who were 9th at the time. Bolton Wanderers, who hadn't lost a game of football at home. And then now Bradford City, who had only lost 3 games all season long. Big win. Up towards 9th, just 22 points off last season's tally. 6 wins off last season's tally. It was around about this period where they started to struggle. Rotherham up next, followed by Port Vale and Stevenage away. They'll be thinking some momentum is being turned. Big win for them.
Yeah, I said this with a posh fan that I spoke about earlier, about a team every season comes out the middle of the pack from nowhere, don't they? And they really make a sustained playoff push. I mean, last year it would have been Leyton Orient. The year before I won't go on to, because they didn't finish in the playoffs and they lost out on the final day. Can't remember if you remember that.
He's gone. Oh, he's back.
What do you mean? I've never gone anywhere. I've always been here.
You buffered for a minute.
Oh, did I? Apologies. Yeah, I was saying I'll start again. For people in case they didn't hear me.
No, it's all right. Carry on.
There is always a team that come from the middle of the pack, and Mansfield are gathering momentum quite heavily. I mean, that's three really good wins: Bolton, Barnsley, Bradford, all the Bs. Fantastic. They were excellent. And Reece Oates, who's signed a contract today, hasn't he? Massive part of that. He gives them a real focal point up front. Lucas Akins coming back into the team. Although I think we need to have a chat about him because he was guilty of something on the pitch yesterday. A handball at 2, was it at 1-0 or 2-0? That 2-0, I think it was, that could have gone against them. And if Bradford had scored a penalty and got back into the game at 2-1, you never know what goes on. But a great win for Stags. I am a big fan of the playing squad that they have at the moment. And they're getting some momentum, and that's 3 big wins, 2 on the road. The one thing that you'd be critical about Mansfield, Ben, for me this season is that home form hasn't quite been there. Field Mill can be a really tough place to go. When they get promoted out of League Two, when they've been up the top end of League Two all those years, you never looked forward to your trips to Field Mill because they were so efficient at home. Whereas in the last 12 months or so, they've not been efficient at home. So for them to beat a team like Bradford,
5 out of 11 at home
this season, admittedly, but
17 points from a mid-table side, Jake, averaging 1.5 points a game at home.
I think
that's not bad.
Yeah, but I definitely think they could do. I think they could do more. But it's still all right. It's still a really good win for the Stags. They played really well. They played a team. They played Bradford off the park. The way they zipped the ball around.
Do you think Luton are good at home?
They have been recently.
Well, they're only 4 points off Luton. They're only 4 points off Wycombe.
Well, that's the difference between
3 points off Exeter.
That could be the difference between top half and bottom half between the end of the season, isn't it? Or these.
Yeah, it can be, but I don't think they've been that bad at home. Okay. You've come on. It's the difference between challenging for promotion and being mid-table. If you're challenging for promotion, you want to be averaging.
But they can. This is the problem, right? This is the thing. Mansfield have now got the momentum to try and challenge for the playoffs. They will want to try and be better at home between now and the end of the season. And
I get that.
And that result proves that they can do it, right? Because that's a Bradford team who haven't lost many games this season, who have been, even when they've been rubbish, they've not lost games. So, I think that's a big statement to teams like Barnsley, teams like Wycombe. Mansfield are here to play, and I think they're a real serious contender for maybe even sneaking in that final playoff spot. So, but yeah, a huge win for them. Bradford, not at the best yesterday. A couple of individual mistakes for the goals. I think Max Powers put his hands up, hasn't he, for the third one. But yeah, I think if Bradford needs to have less days like that, essentially. I think you can have an off day every now and again, can't you?
Yeah, Bradford, yeah, you can. My issue is there's times where I worry for them because they've only been winning by 5 margin, which is great. You want to do it, and I talk about it all the time, but it can only get you so far. And there will be days like that. And I said it a few weeks ago. There'll be a period in the season where I think Bradford will go 4 or 5 without a win, and there'll be some grim days. Look, Blackpool away, followed by Yorkshire Derby, Rotherham in free fall, Cardiff at home, Huddersfield away, Lincoln away, Doncaster at home. There is a lot of winnable games there, but there's some tough games, Going away at Blackpool, going away at Huddersfield, going away at Lincoln. They are easy. They are tough away games. Blackpool have been a lot better at home under Ian Evatt, especially. Big result for Mansfield Town. Big result for AFC Wimbledon. They've not won in 9 games before yesterday. They lost 6 of whom. However, this was AFC Wimbledon's 5th away win of the season. Now, the way Wimbledon's set up, they want to be direct. They want to sit in the shape and frustrate. The reason why AFC Wimbledon got promoted last year was the ability to win games by 0 and win 5 margin games of football. They won the last 4 games of the season 1-0 away at Grimsby to get into the playoffs, 1-0 home, 1-0 away at Notts County, and then 1-0 in the playoff final against Walsall. They transformed that into this season. Then we're maybe getting on the bad end. I still think they'll lose 12 games of football by 1 goal. I think they've lost 7 by 1 goal. This season, they went a goal down, took the character shown to score 3 goals and to come back is a big result for them. 16 of the 31 have come away for Wimbledon. So if they can match what they get at home, they're a side that need to slowly pick up points at home because they play the likes of Mansfield, Stevenage, Port Vale, Wigan. There's been a few games recently where they've played sides you would expect to get your points from at home, and they haven't quite done so. I think they beat Rotherham. That's it in the bottom half. They beat and Barnsley as well early in the year as well, and they got kind of they got a great result against Lincoln earlier. Probably the best time to play Lincoln, Wimbledon, but so you got to take it when you can take it. On Leyton Orient, talking of defences, last season this actually surprised me looking back at this. Only 6 sides conceded fewer goals than Leyton Orient. They only conceded 48. Well, so far this season, I think they conceded 41. And that's the most in the league, tied with Doncaster Rovers. 7 less goals than they conceded last year, and they're at the halfway point. They are conceding far too many goals. They've got goals in them, but at the moment, they're missing key players. You can see they're missing El Mazzuni. You can see they're missing Connolly's out at the moment. But defensively, they are missing the likes of Keeley. Galbraith was a big player in what they did, versatile. And you look through the squad in the 11 that you saw yesterday, it doesn't really blow you away, does it? You can see Jimmy Donnelly as a miss as well in an attacking sense. But it is a big, big loss. And they've lost the last 3 games, conceding 7 in the last 3. And they've lost 6 of the last 8 in all competitions. Ridge Wellens, when it goes right, he's a very patchy manager, isn't he? He goes really well, and it goes really slow as well.
Yeah, it's and you look at the defending for some of the goals of which Wimbledon scored, and so you might want to close your ears, but it was pathetic. Like certainly the first and the second goal, I think they can do much better. I don't know with them because I think everyone builds them as this team that are so good going forward that they give away a little bit of defensive nous going the other way, and I completely agree with that. I mean, this Leyton Orient team, like last year, Ben, I think they just outscored a lot of teams, didn't they? They won a lot of games 3-2, 4-3. They won a lot of games like that. And this year, they've got to score 3. They've got to score 3 to have an option of getting something out of the game because they're just that leaky. Individual mistakes at the back is massively costing Leyton Orient at the minute. And like you say, they are missing some big names at the back, even though Omar Beckles has come back in. Sean Clare has been moved from in midfield out to right back. But they don't have a set back 4. And last year, you think about it felt like they had a set back 4 and the goalkeeper, Josh Keeley. Whereas this year, they've been between Simpkin and Cahill recently. I know Simpkin's gone back to Stoke, hasn't he? Today, he played for him yesterday, didn't he? But going forward, they can be electric, and they did have chances in this game. But credit to AFC Wimbledon, they took the moments, didn't they? When they did go forward, they produced that little bit of quality. They got a little bit lucky for the first goal, but you can't say that the next 2 goals are not well worked. I mean, it's a great ball into the back post from Mars Hippolyte, who puts it in the corner, and then that free kick from Marcus Bowen is championship quality, isn't it? The way that he gets it over the wall and into the top corner. So we said, didn't we, about Wimbledon that especially, I know I didn't speak about it, but that Exeter game, we called it a 6-pointer, didn't we? I don't know I can't remember what you and Farley said about it, but it was a real 6-pointer. And to lose that, I bet they were gutting. So to go away to Leyton Orient, a team that they maybe weren't expecting to beat, and to do it so convincingly, I think it sort of evens it out. I think they'd have expected 3 points from these 2 games anyway. So not coming the right way, but a great away performance. And finally, they've stopped the rot. And Wimbledon, this was the Wimbledon of earlier in the season, wasn't it? Hard to beat, scoring goals. They're giving themselves a chance. And the way they've started the season, that's for sure.
And the 12th now, sorry, with 31 points.
Second?
And that's an 8. If they'd have lost that yesterday, they'd have been all the way down in 19th where Northampton are. And you're looking over your shoulder thinking 10 without a win. The nature of it now, they are only 7 points off the playoff, whereas they are 4 points off the relegation zone. So any bit of a bad run can go and get you going. I think they need to kick on and get more points. They've got Doncaster to come at home, got Rotherham away, got Port Vale away. They'll be telling games because if you don't win them, don't lose them. I think they've got it. And Wycombe, if they can get 5 to 6 out of those and get to 36/37 points, oh my God. I think you'll be fine. I didn't do anything, I'll be honest. Yeah, so next game, Rotherham 0, Peterborough 2, Jay. Posh on fire. They'd only got 1 point from the first 7 games. They've now got 31 points from the last 16 games. They've been on fire. And Posh, when they get going. Yesterday was Peterborough at the very best, I thought. Frantic, lots of shots, tested the keeper. Rotherham in free fall, 6 defeats. Rotherham, for me, I said at the start there, they look awful, absolutely awful. They've got no quality, got no flair, they've not got creativity. They only lost 6 of the first 8, and they were drawing a lot. They were winning the odd game, but now they're in free falls, conceding a lot of goals. What's basically changed is they're not winning games of football at home now, and they're struggling. How bad was that from Rotherham yesterday? But how good were Peterborough, who are now 11th, 32 points, 6 off the playoffs? Luke Williams is cooking as he goes into a tasty affair at the Bank on Sunday.
Yeah, well, hopefully it goes the same way as the last one. But yeah, do you know? But I watched the highlights of this game, and I kind of Peterborough. I understand where you're coming from because the goals look really good. They get round the sides of Rotherham, and that's where both the goals come from. Keller's is a nice finish into the area, whereas the first one is well worked from the right hand side, and it's crossed. And Joe Rafferty's got no option really, but to put it in his own goal. But I look at this game, and I think Rotherham had chances in this game. And if they hit the bar, they hit the post, Bass made a really good save from a sitter. If Rotherham had just taken one of those chances, it felt like this whole game would have gone the complete other way. Because in that first half, well, even into the start of the second half, before Peterborough went up the other end and scored, I think Rotherham had a chance. Like I say, if they'd have just got that goal and got a bit of confidence back, and they'd gone 1-0 up, I think because they've got the mindset of they're on this really poor run of form, it feels like at any opportunity the manager's going to get sacked because they're on this poor run of form. And you can tell they're the group playing without confidence. Like Joe Powell looked half of the player that he was a couple of months ago. You know, they've got no Sam Nomble up front. You know, they've got to play with Hugo and Etete, who are too similar. They're basically the same style of centre forward, and they're bringing up. You know, they couldn't even call on Sharif. He got recalled back to Everton, but they didn't really have much of an attacking bench either. So, yeah, I think had they just taken one of those chances, we could have been talking about, you know, a Rotherham win. But Peterborough, to their credit, they stay in the game, they make the saves, they get the blocks in, they do the dirty work. And at the end of the pitch at the moment, they are on fire. Matty Garbett looks an absolute cut above, doesn't he? Running through the midfield and laying it off. They look like it's the complete opposite. They're playing with a lot of swagger and a lot of confidence. And you know, the last couple of weeks, they had a bad spell, didn't they? They lost away at Doncaster. They lost at home to Stevenage. But since then, we've reacted brilliantly. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Sunday now because it's 2 form teams. Should be a good atmosphere. They'll bring a lot of fans as well. So yeah, fair play to Posh. They're on a right run at the minute.
Yeah, they conceded 15 goals Rotherham in the last 6 games. Defeats at Blackpool, Plymouth, Huddersfield, Peterborough, Blackpool twice in fact in that time. They're struggling.
7-0 scoreline as well, those two.
Yeah, they need some momentum shifting. Next up, Burton away at Reading. Reading 2, Burton 0. Back-to-back defeats for the Brewers, both by the scorelines of 2-0. Liam Richardson's gone into Reading, done really well. 5 wins in 9. Jack Marriott, 8th goal of the season. He's scoring lots of goals. Reading, in fact, I've actually scored in every single game, bar one, since the opening 2 games of the season. So again, they scored in 20 of the last 21 goals. They were scoring goals under Noel Hunt, but then struggling as well. Unbeaten in the last 4 games, 1 in 3. Reading are on fire. We'll talk about Burton in a minute.
Yeah, I thought Reading were good value. They made a couple of chances. The goals are 2 bits of quality, really. It's a great ball in from Matt Ritchie for the first one, and Jack Marriott, you know, as much as I do, Ben, you've seen it in a Fleetwood shirt. He is potent around the 12 yards out from goal. It's a good little flick onto the post. I think, to be honest, Brad Collins kept Burton in it, and it maybe could have been 3-4-0, the amount of chances that Reading had. But they are slowly getting better, aren't they, under Liam Richardson? They are slightly starting to put a bit of a run together there, sort of climbing the table a little bit now. What are they? Where are they now? 10th in the league. You know, we were talking about Reading under Hunt, and they were towards the bottom 4. So he has got them more competitive. They're only 6 points off the playoffs, Ben. You know, they've got a game in hand on Huddersfield as well, so that gap can go down to 3 points
to the Terriers, which would be a really big thing for them. I think that what hinges their season is how big a January they have. If I think we'll be able to see what their ambitions are in the short term. If they go out and get some really good players in, we could be talking about Reading as that team again, like we spoke about with Mansfield, like Peterborough. Ironically, those three are sandwiched together in the league table at this minute in time, as that team to come through and really break into the playoffs. But if they don't do a huge amount, then you do worry. But the thing with Reading is their games are quite tight. They've scored 31, right? When you look at the teams that are all above them, bar Stevenage, they've all scored more than them. And we were talking about a Bradford team that don't score a huge amount. They've scored more than them. Stockport have, Huddersfield have, obviously we have, Cardiff have. So I'll be intrigued to see how their January goes, but still a very good win over Burton. You know, sometimes you've got to beat what's in front of you. I thought Reading were convincing winners on yesterday.
With that 11 players, Burton, already small squad, small budget for the division, smallest football club now left in there. Goodwin will leave, Webster, Shade all out. You've got your goal scorer. Webster's the best player. Goodwin will leave's a handy player. Moon, Delap, McKiernan, Raven, Tarara, Jones, Hazelhurst, Sibic, all out injured. Thank you, David.
Well, Sibic's at AFCON. So
yeah, well, he's coming back, though, but you already take that away. And they did very well. Burton have done very well this year to get the points they have. And it's not like they're on an uphill battle. Points-wise, they're doing well, right? For the games they've had, the situation they've been, they went through a sticky patch in around September time, didn't they? In October, November, they were really good. Probably a top 10, top 12 side. And then there were situations in games where they were winning games of football. Barnsley, Stockport, Rotherham, where they probably should have picked up an extra 3 or 4, maybe even 6 points across those games. And they didn't. I do worry for Burton because they are now just above the dotted line on 27 after 23. That'll be 54 points across the. I think they got that ish last year, or I think maybe a bit less than last year. But Plymouth away on Saturday is a tough game, just above the drop. That is then Huddersfield at home, Lincoln away, Thursday night, Bolton away, Cardiff at home. I mean, that is a tough January for players coming back. And then you've got Port Vale and Rotherham in that month, but Stockport sandwich in between it. And then Wycombe and Luton both away. This next 2 months, all I say is, Burton, they don't need to be glorious and get a point. If they can get, out of these next 8-10 games, if they can get a point per game on average and stay in it, don't get caught. If they get 8 points across the next 8 games, or even 6 points across the next 8 games, and get to 33 from a possible 31, they'll still be in it. They won't be cut adrift when they get these players back. I think Webster should be back by mid-February, and I should hope they can bring players in. But
they've got a bit of work to do because they've got to shift players out to get them in. And
100%. And you're looking at free loans. You're looking at free loans,
and we all know what free loans are, mate. They're not a huge amount. You can't really get many good free loans in 2026 because some teams will just pay ridiculous money to sign these players.
Yeah, but then you've got to play them. And then go into Burton 20 games at the end of the year in a fight under Gary Bowyer, good facilities as well. You can see maybe why they'd want to go to Burton.
Yeah, you've got it. They need Webster back. Webster's a talisman. He's the one that makes them tick. He's the big one. When they get him back, and maybe Shade, I think they'll both be back around the same time at the start of Feb, maybe going into February, Valentine's Day. That's ideally what you need to get Webster back, because he does carry this team. He does offer the creativity. He does offer that threat from outside the box as well. Because at the minute, all they're doing, it feels like, is pumping the ball into the penalty area and trying to get big old Jake Beasley to head them in. And he's done really well this year. He scored
XG's.
To be fair, to give his credit, he scored a lot of goals. But he needs someone from behind helping him. Shade, who scored 5 goals in the league, obviously he's. I feel like Burton needs to improve in that area. I know I got crucified for saying they scored 5 goals and they don't score enough goals. Right, that's the fact of the matter. They don't score enough goals, and they scored 7 in 2 games, absolutely. But you take that out of it, and then they've scored 16 across the other 21 games that they've played this season. If you go at that rate, you're going to get relegated, right? And Burton have been better than that. I think they benefit as well from the league being tighter. I think that's a massive reason as to maybe why they haven't, because they've been put. They have. they've had a good spell, but they have been pretty inconsistent. So
Yeah.
maybe the fact that the league's tighter and shrunk together is probably why they're still in it. But big month coming, they need some recruits.
But they've been here. They had 27 points after 23 games. They'd probably be high up the league, but I can see what you mean. They have
They're not as far away from the other teams above them. Like, for example...
3 points off Wycombe.
Yeah, Exeter, Wigan, Wimbledon, they all feel catchable for Burton right now. Then if they can string a couple of results together, they'll be right in amongst that mid-table pack.
I tell you what, David's heartbeat's going to go by the time he's probably about 45 now, isn't he?
That's only next year anyway.
Yeah, so he's 50 in a couple of years, isn't he? And so I'll tell you what, every season I'm moaning that I've got nothing to. David, I'd swap with David. If I could now, I'd swap with David. Absolutely. 20th for League One for 12th/13th for League Two, David. Are we on? Come over deal. Exeter 1, Luton 0. The Grecians get the 8th win, the 9th win of the season, 8 of whom have come with clean sheets. Their 5th 1-0 of the season. They find a way to win fine margin football matches. They've won 4 of the last 6, Jake, have Exeter. They are a tough nut to crack. Yep. The other 2 games, Bolton away, Exeter away. They lost both 1-0. They've been in games. They are tight-knitted. They're strong. They play for the badge. And Exeter... I've got 29 points after 23. They're on a positive goal difference. They're 2 points above the drop, but then they're only 3 points off 9th, how close this league is. Luton now lost 6 of the last 12, 1 point across the last 4 away from home. Exeter find a way to win another game of football at the Bank as they move towards safety. Huddersfield away to come and a trip to the Etihad.
Yeah, exciting couple of weeks for Exeter. I thought they were good. I thought they just wanted it more, and they had lots of opportunities. By the way, can we have a word on Pierce Sweeney curling it into the far corner like he's prime David Beckham? What an absolute finish from the big bold centre half. And to be honest, mate, Exeter deserved it. They hit the post. They forced Josh Keeling into a couple of really good saves. I thought they were good value, and that was the difference. They just had that little bit of willpower. As Luton, it feels the Luton, Ben, at the minute, they just get ahead of steam, right? And everyone's going, oh, Luton are doing really well. Then they go and drop off massively, and they have this odd result against an Exeter, and they have a clanger, which is why I'm quite reserved about putting them in my top 6 at the moment, because they've got that in them. Sort of similar a little bit, in fact, to Bolton. Bolton have got that where on their game, they look unbelievable, but they've got that hiccup in them. They lost 3-0 away at Burton. They lost at home to Mansfield. So, which Luton also did in fairness. So maybe I shouldn't give it discredit to Stags. But yeah, a really decent win for Exeter. Puts them back into that mid-table bracket now. They'll be breathing a little bit easier now going into Huddersfield away, where there's no expectation on them, and then they can go and enjoy their week at Manchester City next week. And I hope they all have fun.
It's important that we've seen teams doing well in the league and they go into a big away ground and then they hit the bumpers after. Salford went to United. To City last year.
Lost 8-0, didn't they?
Yeah, and then after that they lost the next 6 in a row. After they won 6 in a row. So it's like, you don't want to go on a bad run from that. And Gary Cole, the job he does at that football club is incredible. I think Jack Wilshere, patience is needed. I think that they've been improving. I just think that overall, the 3 points off the thing, they've had a good week. They've lost 1 game. They've taken 6 points out of the 9 overall. Lincoln 1, Huddersfield 1. Jake, and not a win this time. A draw. Scabar's got to go, hasn't he? It's not looking good at Lincoln. He's struggling. He can't buy that win. 7 unbeaten now. 17 points collected. Just a couple of draws in there with Huddersfield and Blackpool. Only Cardiff, Bradford and Bolton have a better home record. For Huddersfield, Leo Castledean's 10th league goal of the season for Huddersfield. Maybe his last as well. And the first player to score double figures for a club, age 20, youngest since Jordan Rhodes. Also 10 before he turned 21. Huddersfield are also unbeaten in 6. Good game this. None of the top 8 actually won yesterday.
Yeah.
It's come along. We've not spoken, me and Jake, since yesterday, really. So I don't know how he's feeling. I would sense there was a feeling that you could have won the game. And does it say a lot about this Lincoln group, the manager, that you're disappointed with drawing to high-spending Huddersfield Town? And
Well, they
before
had
I ask, how much did they nick off Lincoln? Who did they try and nick? Because normally
well,
they try and nick something, don't they?
This is a big trial day for our lads to get a move to the massive Huddersfield Town, who are 7 points below us in the league table, by the way. Hi, James. Hope you're doing well. Well, they had they had a £3 million player, not even in the squad. Ben, tells you everything about Huddersfield, right? What I will say is, and I will try not to be biased. I thought yesterday, I'm happy with a point, right? It keeps Huddersfield at 7 points clear of Huddersfield. I was quite impressed with the way that we played. I thought first half, I thought the Huddersfield were lucky to get in at 0-0. We had a couple of opportunities. Lee Nichols has made one of the saves of the season down to his left to stop Freddie Draper scoring. We have a couple of half opportunities, which Rico, I think, should maybe score as well. So I think going into half-time 0-0, we're thinking, we've not taken the chances here. And in credit to Huddersfield, Murray Wallace, I thought, was outstanding at the back. They headed and kicked everything away. Second half, they then started to play a little bit. First half, they were a little bit scared. I think they were waiting to see what we did. Then the second half, they started to turn it on a bit. Leo Castledine, his involvement in the game started to grow. And yeah, the goal from a Lincoln point of view is frustrating. I think the defenders need to react a little bit quicker. George Wickens does everything right. But they recycle the ball. It's a good cross, and Leo Castledine can't miss. And at that point, I had that sinking feeling, Huddersfield are going to be four points behind us. But the character of this group to react in the way they did, I thought we got back on top, and the goal came from that. I mean, who says Adam Reach can't score a tap-in? He scored from, 3 yards out?
No.
It's a bit of a contrast to his last goal, but yeah, still really pleased. And a point, I think a point probably is, I want to say, I don't know if it's fair, but I think Huddersfield will be walking away from that game more happy to escape with a point than Lincoln, because I think we had the chances really to kill them off and take a win. But do you know what? Considering everyone else dropped points, I'm still relatively pleased. And yeah, Huddersfield were decent. I thought they were okay, apart from the left-sided two defenders. They were absolutely shocking. I was hoping it was a Sean Rowland goal. Unfortunately, it was Ricci that scored it. But still, good point. Could have been 3, but that could be a good point if we do our job against Peterborough on Sunday. If we beat Peterborough, like we said, after we played Blackpool, they say if you beat Cardiff, that's a good point. If we beat Posh on Sunday, that becomes a good point. So we'll see.
It's a big game because Peterborough can close the gap on the playoffs as well. Huddersfield 6 unbeaten now, building some momentum. If you look at the last 10, actually, I like looking at spells, and so your last 3, 5, then 10. They've won 5, they've drawn 3, they've lost 2. They've got 18 points, 1.8 points a game. That'd be enough for a playoff spot at the end of the year. And Huddersfield away at Lincoln is a difficult place to go. They're not a big hitter with money. They're not a big hitter in terms of, you think of at the start of the year they're going to be up there. But you certainly think that if it was the Premier League, I put Lincoln like a Newcastle / Villa / Everton at the start. You probably think I'm just going to be on the periphery, 6th, 7th, 8th, good at home, strong. You don't know what you're going to get, and probably better in the bigger games and can upset a few. And look how well Villa are doing right now. Moving on, 5 games to go as we kind of come down into the lesser games. Wycombe 1, Cardiff 1. Cardiff could have been out of sight in this one, Jake. He played some really good stuff. The Barley scored a really, really good goal. The couple of good saves. Chambers went close.
Tanner
went close. The fruits of what Cardiff are about. High possession, good press, good shots on target. Really getting in Wycombe's faces. They get the punch in the face from a corner. Typical League One. That is welcome to League One from Wycombe. Wycombe find a way to get a point. Good point for them after a tough couple of weeks for them on the road. Away at Plymouth, and then obviously away at Luton on Boxing Day. Cardiff at home, tough game. Cardiff showed everything they needed to do. If they would have won that, they'd gone to 50 points after 23. Look, this Cardiff group are 2 points shy at this stage of getting 100 points. That is a ridiculous achievement. A few years ago, Plymouth Argyle got 101. Ipswich got 99. Sheffield Wednesday got 96. Yes, the league isn't as high quality these days, in my opinion, but Cardiff, for the recruitment they've done, No one really expected Cardiff to be in this position at the start of the year. And look, they're 3 points above Lincoln now with a game in hand, they're 5 clear of third. But although Bradford did them, Cardiff look a step above them. I think in one-off games, Lincoln and Bradford can do it, but I think Cardiff just look at a level above. They scored 41 goals now. Scored a lot of goals. Huddersfield have scored 43. They're the only side to score more than them in the division. They're good defensively as well. They've got a good goal difference. And I feel we're starting to see the fruits of what Cardiff are about. Yes, they didn't win yesterday, but I think we're starting to see the fruits of it. Wycombe, the battle, that was everything that Wycombe were about. Just stick in the game. It wasn't pretty, but they got a point under Michael Duff. And Wycombe, again, are 13th. But they're up to 30 points. They've maybe lost the way a bit in the last few weeks, only one win in 6, but they've had a tough run.
Yeah, how Cardiff haven't won this game, I've got absolutely no idea. They created so many chances and probably, like you say, could and should have been out of sight. But fair play to Wycombe, they did stick in it, although Callum Robinson's missed an absolute sitter at, I think it was in the second half, wasn't it, at 1-1 where he's got to score it. I think they end up putting the ball in the net, but obviously it gone out for a goal kick. I think Cardiff will be kicking themselves because, like you say, with everyone else dropping points, it was a good chance to elevate and put themselves further clear at the top and really have one foot in the Championship next season in terms of the gap they would have had to third place. But a point away at Adams Park, where they've been decent under Michael Duff since he's come back in, I don't think that can be sniffed at too much. But yeah, I think Wycombe will come away from that game happier, a bit like Huddersfield, come away from that happier because I think on another day, Cardiff maybe would have scored 3 or 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Cardiff are a Rolls Royce at this level. I really believe that. Keep liking, keep subscribing if you haven't already. It would help the channel out a lot. So please like, subscribe, keep your comments coming. Stevenage 1, Plymouth 1. 2 wins in 12 for Stevenage, or 4 defeats in 12. It depends what way you look at it. It's weird because they're averaging a point a game over the last 12. Since that Luton game, the Luton game was a really good day for them. A Derby Day win for them. And obviously Luton see Watford as their main rivals. But for Stevenage, big game. He packed the ground out. He obviously lost Bloomfield his job. Since then, Stevenage haven't really hit the heights. And I think they've been found out a little bit because Stevenage are like Wimbledon. Stevenage are very much a League 2 side playing in League 1. They remind me very much of a Walsall, very much of a Bromley. There are times they play to stick in games and win it in the last 15, 20 minutes. And they go for a fight, they go for a scrap. And what they do is they don't try and impose themselves. What they do is they do the dark arts really, really well. And they try and disrupt you. They try and get in your head a little bit. And it's a bit like slowing down the play in darts or in snooker, playing crafty little safeties in behind the yellow. It's a bit like how that, and we've all got our way. If Stevenage went to go and play expansive football, they'd be in the bottom 6, bottom 8, because they are not coached enough. They haven't got the facilities for that. So everyone's got their way. They've got to battle and they've got to be in games. And a lot of games Stevenage are in. They've lost 5 games this year. They've all been by the odd goal. They've won 10. They often win fine margin games of football. So that thingy. Luther Wildling. There you are. I had to get it in. Come on, I had to get it in for you, Farley. Great goal from Wilding. For me, I think he's one of the best fullbacks in the division. I think that he's a quality asset. He's been there for years. I think he's made over 200 appearances for him. It wasn't a great watch yesterday. It was Stevenage probably had more possession, actually. Had a shot more. You could probably see it was just 2 sides scrapping out. Good crowd on yesterday as well. Again, point of peace. Plymouth are like Blackpool. Plymouth and Blackpool remind me of a lot of each other as well. The grounds are very similar, I think, as well. That Plymouth are a better side than they suggest. But how close this league is, there's only 10 points in between Stevenage and Plymouth. Yes, they've got games in hand. But you'd expect Plymouth to rise up the division sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I thought yesterday they were good value for at least a point. They had a couple of opportunities. Certainly in the first half, they hit the bar. There was a good save from Philip Marshall there. And they are slowly starting to get better, isn't it? Ironically, since I started waving the white flag about Tom Cleverley, they've really upped the gear a little bit. And they do look a little bit more of a collective unit playing for the manager now. And I think we're nearly at that point, aren't we, where Tom Cleverley says, judge me after 25 games. If the last 15 games are anything to go by, I think Tom Cleverley has shown that he does have a little bit of potential and really a bit of coaching now. So they have got better. So fair play to them for that. I agree with what you're saying, Stevenage. They are effective at what they do. They scored a decent goal. I think there's a little bit of naivety in the Stevenage defending of the Plymouth goal. I think maybe Dan Kemp can go down and hold his face. I know people don't like it, but I think from a Stevenage point of view, you want to win the game. I think if you'd have done it, the goal obviously wouldn't have happened. But yeah, a decent point for Plymouth. I think Stevenage would be gutted. It's a missed opportunity to try and get themselves back in the top 6. But look, Farley's buzzing. He texted me earlier. He's absolutely buzzing with a point. And he can't wait for New Year's Day home to Leyton Orient. So if they can get 4 points from those 2 home games, I think they'll be pretty delighted with that.
Yeah, the next 4 for Stevenage, or the next 5, I like judging it in spells or monthly targets. Now, Stevenage have got a lot of league games this month. Now, my issue with Stevenage was when they played away at Peterborough, everyone was raving over. I think they played something like 18 games across 20 weeks of the season. At that point, there's 18 weeks of the season. I'm like, you've got to play another 28 games. You've got to play a lot of football in a short period of time. And we mentioned Barnsley, smaller squads. It's okay doing it once a week. At the moment, I'm finding my lot getting found out because they're struggling with the demands of playing every 3 days and they're dropping like flies. And you're seeing it this time of year because the pitches are heavy. Leyton, Orient, Luton, if you break it up into different months, they've got 3 home games on the bounce after this. Leyton, Orient, Luton, Exeter. If they can get 5 out of those 3, it'd be good. Then you're going into Bolton, Mansfield, Peterborough at home. If you can then get 5 out of those, that'd be... So if you can get 10 out of your next 6, Barnes away, if you get a draw out, they won there last year, I think, because they won at Oakwell and they won at Wrexham on the Tuesday night in about February last year, didn't they? I think it was like the Dan Kemp show. I think they scored 4 goals in the space of 2 away games and they scored like 9 before that. They can get 11 points out of those 7 games. It's not unbelievable. It's not vintage, but it will just keep Stevenage, what they've done all season, just keeping in it. It'll take them to 48 after 29, which isn't a bad return. So if they can do that, that'll be fine. On Plymouth, like you say, if they win the next one, yes, 30 points after 25 isn't great, but all of a sudden you can say, right, the last 10. I don't think judging it on the 25 overall, just judge it on your last 10, because when a manager gets sacked, ultimately, you're judging it over recent form, aren't you? If Scabala now lost his next 8 games and gets sacked, you're not judging it over the case of 31 games, are you, Jay? You're judging it over the last 8. And everyone would look at Lincoln and thinking, oh, that's harsh, that. But you'd be thinking, this context, you've lost your last 8 games. So it's difficult. Doncaster won, Bolton won. Doncaster are finding it hard to win a game of football. Now, they won 5 of the first 7. They drew 1. They lost 1. They've only won 1 of the last 17. They've drawn 4, lost 12. Now, my issue with them is they look naive, they look vulnerable, and they can't see a game. I don't think now this is ability-wise, because I think we are seeing in games, Doncaster have got a lot of ability, a lot of talent to easily finish 18th in this division around that period. There's no reason why Doncaster can't go and do that, because I think they've got good players, and I think they have got a good core, and I think they lack in certain areas, don't get me wrong, but so do a lot of teams, and there's worse than Doncaster in this league, in my opinion. In their last 5 games, they've taken the lead in 4 of them, and the other one they lost 1-0 away at Blackpool. They took the lead at Cardiff, took the lead against Bolton, took the lead against Peterborough, took the lead against, which they won. They took the lead against Plymouth, and they lost 5-1. They are taking the lead in games, but not seeing it out. And I think the example yesterday, if you look at that game, there was a lot of chances for Doncaster Rovers, and they probably should have had a couple. I think there was one in the first half. I think it was Broadbent had it, and how he's missed, I don't know. That's 3 months ago. Broadbent scored that, they win 2 or 3-0. There was a challenge. Brandon Adlin had one. Owen Bailey had a couple. Middleton had a couple. Molyneux had a chance or 2. And to be fair, they bullied Bolton yesterday. They just can't buy a win right now.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. I do also think it's a little bit unfortunate as well. Like the lad in goal for Bolton had an absolute storm of a game. Is it Miller, his name? The goalkeeper? I'm going to check now quickly. Miller, the goalkeeper, T. Miller, had a great. He made a really, really good save from Middleton, obviously before the goal as well. But yeah, I feel like Doncaster will come away. I think Bolton will probably come away from it thinking they were ever so slightly fortunate. Doncaster will be frustrated, like you say, the opportunities they created, probably enough to win at least 2 or 3 games of football. But it's that final action, it's that final man. They can create the chances. They just haven't got a number 9 that you feel confident in taking all those opportunities, because Brandon Hanlon is a good centre forward. He's a decent League One level centre forward, but he's not reliable. He's not always. I can't think of the last time Brandon Hanlon had a really good goal scoring season. Probably for Bristol Rovers a couple of years ago. It's been a while since we saw them. Hold on, they won 3-0 at the weekend.
We're this weekend, mate.
Yeah, we had fatty fist pumps. Well, thinny fist pumps. Sorry, thinny fist pumps.
Thinner than me and you now.
He's done well, in fairness to him, but he's a crook. Still, I think they would have been. I think they'd have been devastated to have not won that, because they had the opportunities to do so. For Bolton, yeah, they'll probably see that as getting out of jail free a little bit. The opportunity that they had through that man Cozy Adubi, a great cross, Carl Dempsey, lovely looping finish into the back of the net. But yeah, I just feel like, again, I feel like Donny just could be disappointed. But Bolton, everyone else dropped points. Like, they'll be good. They've not capitalised on that and got themselves close to the top 2. So Doncaster have got to stay on a 9, haven't they? They've signed 2 lads today, but they've got to sign a 9 that knows where the net is. I wouldn't be opposed if I was Doncaster. Try and get Joe Taylor. If Joe Taylor could drop to Doncaster, that man scores goals at this level. So I think that could work very well.
I think, I agree with that. Bolton, I don't think they've wowed me. They occasionally set your fireworks off, but they're not constant with it. They have a good day, then they have a bad day. And just look for the December. They beat Mansfield, they beat Exeter. They just about got through. When they win, I feel like they make hard work of it in a lot of games, like most teams do, to be fair. They lost to Wycombe, but they beat Rotherham late on, but then they've lost to Mansfield and they've drawn here. You look for the squad yesterday, they've got good players. I just think they're a year away. And it's frustrating. I just think that this is the start of the project. And I just feel that, I don't know if you saw Schumacher's interview the other day. I wasn't a big fan of that. If I was a Bolton fan, I'd be concerned. Did you see it? Like when he was being asked about Jamie Donnelly. He was literally like a dad on his seat, like slouching like this, breathing. And I'm like, it's not a good sign, that. I just feel I don't think they're all that. Bolton Wanderers are put up there because they're called Bolton and they've got a big crowd and they've got good players that can occasionally play. But I genuinely, if you took the fan base away and they had the size of fan base Lincoln had, no one would put Bolton Wanderers, I think, in there every week. As simple as that. They've got a good team and I think they will be up there at the end of the year. But I think they're like 2 or 3 and January could be proved. They've done well in January before with their loans. Let's wrap these last 2 up then. Wigan 1, Barnsley 1. Jake's talk me through it.
Game of 2 halves. Wigan outstanding in the first half, get themselves in front through Dara Costello. A couple of opportunities to further that lead, didn't take them. Barnsley eventually weren't going to have a half as bad as the first. They grew it into it in the second half, and they got themselves level. I think David McGoldrick's the one that really stands out from a Barnsley point of view. But for the Reds, it stops the rot. Obviously, a couple of defeats. Luke O'Connell getting sent off. I thought he could have got sent off against us, to be honest. It was nasty. It was malicious. But he's prone to that. He's as good as a player Luke O'Connell is. He's got that in him, that stupidity, that mistake. But yeah, a 1-1 draw. Don't think either team will be happy with it, to be honest. I think both teams will look at the halves of football that they dominated and probably say they should have won it. But they both walk away with a point.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think both sides mid-table League One. If they can progress it for the next half of the season, then great. Northampton 0, Stockport 0. Maybe a missed opportunity for Cobblers in this one. I think they had the better of the chances and really pinned Stockport in and really asked them a few questions. This is it with Northampton. They have a really bad performance and then they have a really good one. Maybe sometimes they don't always win the ones that they play really well in, which is difficult. Not won in the last 3 games of football. That'll worry Kevin Nolan. But I think the good thing is they created chances in. Lost 5-1 in a free game to Burton. Lost 2-0 at Huddersfield, which I don't think is bad, and 0-0 to Stockport. Bolton away next. It doesn't get any easier. Wycombe at home is a tough game. Blackpool away. The Rotherham on a Tuesday night, then Reading at home. So some tough games coming up for Northampton. They just need to stick with it. For County, I've still not been wowed. They played well when they went top of the league against Vale. They're in the playoffs, and they deserve to be on the points-wise because they're averaging a good number of points. But last year, County constantly they got the points but played well, and they were showing why they were fourth in the league. This year, County feel like they're playing 10th or 11th place stuff, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. You're spot on. I think they were. I don't know what it is because they had a really good away record, didn't they? Stockport up until a couple of weeks ago. I think it still is relatively good compared to the rest of the league, but I don't know what it was yesterday. They just looked lethargic. Then maybe it's the 3 games in such a short space of time, catching up with them. I think it's 3 games in 6 days, I think, isn't it? Just catching up with them ever so slightly. They look lethargic. Their final ball, Ollie Norwood wasn't at it, and we know Stockport County need Ollie Norwood to be at it if they're going to perform well. They had a couple of half chances. One that was well saved by Ross Fitzsimmons, tipped over the bar, but like you say, Ben, Northampton will walk away from this game like they did the Cardiff game, and they lost that 3-1. But I think that wasn't reflective of the game. Like they did the Huddersfield home game, they probably deserved 3 at least. They probably deserved 3 points. They had the opportunities. They made Hinchcliffe and goal, make some really good saves, and they did test Stockport on occasion. So I think they will walk away disappointed because, again, it's a great opportunity for them to have built a gap between themselves and the top and the bottom 4. But still, a point at home to Stockport, who, as good as they have been on the road, 4th in the league. I think they'll probably take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Northampton's, again, a tricky place to go at the bottom end. You don't really want the banana skins in open stadium. Northampton do well. League One Power Hour, there we go. Jake, thank you very much for joining me, mate. We need to do predictions. We'll also have a look on Monday. Then I cannot wait to go back to Sunday shows. These are 3 shows in 6 days have taken its toll.
Busy week. So slight hiccup because I wasn't on the last league.
I think I should get 3 points added on because it's your mistake. You're in charge.
What mistake do you get for not muting yourself at the start of every single show ever? Where do you have?
Didn't you mute yourself at the last time?
Eh?
Didn't you mute yourself last time? What about a deduction for missing a show?
I was at a family function.
Do you not tell them? Excuse me, I've got work.
Hold on. Did I or did I not appear on the last League One Live? Yes.
You did, but yeah.
Anyway, for the week for the games on the 29th, Ben, you got 6 points. I got 17 points with a number of correct scores. Ben, I don't think you got a correct score. You just got 6 correct outcomes. I got the correct score for the Bradford Port Vale game, for the Cardiff Stevenage game, for the Huddersfield Northampton game, for the Peterborough Reading game. So big ups, I got 17, which means, having missed a week, we are currently sat Ben on 152, Jake on 163. So we'll go on to game week 32. Right. Ben, start with you. I tell you what, Ben, I will make it up to you this week and this week only. You can go first for all 12 games.
Okay.
Fair? Fair. It better be. Right, Ben. Bolton, Northampton. Mate, I can't hear you. What's going on? I can see
Bolton 2, Northampton 0.
Bolton 2, Northampton 0. There's a bloody surprise. I'm going to go Bolton. I'm going to go Bolton 1, Cobblers 0. Ben, Lincoln versus Peterborough. 12 o'clock kickoff.
Lincoln, Peterborough. Lincoln 2, Peterborough 1.
I respect that. I'm going to go 2-0 to those beautiful, beautiful imps. Ben, Blackpool. Here we go. Against Bradford.
Blackpool 1, Bradford 2.
Are you feeling all right? This is reverse psychology, isn't it, for you?
No.
So you've gone 2-1
Why
Bradford.
don't I want Blackpool to do well?
I'm going to flip it the other way around and go, I think Blackpool make a statement and beat Bradford. Ben, Cardiff against Wigan.
Cardiff 2, Wigan 0.
Cardiff 3, Wigan 0. Doncaster Rovers against Luton.
Doncaster 2, Luton 1.
Doncaster 2, Luton 1. That sounds good. Doncaster 3, Luton Town 2. Why not? Screw it. Huddersfield against Exeter, Ben.
Huddersfield 2, Exeter 0.
Yep. I'm going to go Huddersfield 4, Exeter City 0.
Jamie Donnelly's going to Oxford, by the way.
Yeah, they can buy him for £4.5 million in the summer.
I don't think they can afford that.
Oxford ain't got that sort of money. Plymouth versus Burton, Ben.
Plymouth against Burton.
Yes.
Plymouth 3, Burton 0.
Positive. I'm going to go Plymouth 2, Burton 1.
You're sick if you're enjoying this Burton downfall. Got a comment the other day going, Jake has a thing against Burton. It's like, David!
Oh, I love Burton. So we played Port Vale, they're playing Barnsley, Ben. They've already
Barnsley
played
2. No, sorry. Port Vale 2, Barnsley 1.
They've played already once this season,
5-0
haven't
on
they?
it.
5. I want to say 5-1 in the Virtue. However, it won't be a
Matty.
repeat. Won't be.
It was awful yesterday.
Do I just go full on Port Vale agenda? Port Vale 2, Barnsley 0. Up the Valiants. I said they were staying up right from the start. Ben, Reading versus Stockport.
Reading 1, Stockport 1.
I don't like you at all.
I must have predicted about 6 of yours.
Yeah, at least. Reading 1, Stockport 2. Rotherham versus Mansfield, Ben.
Rotherham 1, Mansfield 2.
I'm going out the form book. Rotherham 1, Stags 0. Like, Stags are going too well. Mansfield are Rotherham are rubbish at the minute. The form book in this league makes no sense.
Yeah.
Stevenage versus Leyton Orient, Ben.
2-0, Stevenage. Go on the boy! Love him to bits. Oh, cracking.
Stevenage 1, Leyton Orient 2. Richie
Parmex
Wellens.
loves that.
Richie Wellens. I couldn't support. It's difficult to support. I got Farley and Andy Blair one side and Parmex on the other. Do you know how much of a nightmare that is?
Draw.
Finally, Wycombe versus AFC Wimbledon.
Wycombe 0, Wimbledon 1.
I'm going to go Wycombe. Oh, they've lost Sam Bell, haven't they? Wycombe 2, Wimbledon 0. There we go. Power
Good
hour,
show,
1 hour
mate.
10.
Good show.
Right. Enjoyed it. Lots of love. See you on Monday night. Can't wait.
Monday night, go and
At
check
work.
the podcast out here for the Lincoln podcast. Thanks
Please.
very much for watching. Thanks all. Please like, subscribe on your way out. This has been League One Live. We'll be with you for the 4th time in 10 days on Monday. See you in the next one. Happy New Year, one and all. Different year, same CODS vlogs.
You imps.